Hi, Robbie. Thank you for joining me on the podcast. How are you doing?
I am very well, thank you. It's an absolute pleasure. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you on. Best known from Soccer AM and your YouTube channel. Did you always want to get into media when you were younger?
I don't think I really knew what I wanted to do. Like, I didn't really know because we didn't have the internet when I was younger. I didn't really know what was possible to do, if that makes any sense. So I think there were only sort of more mainstreamy jobs. And I did have work experience at like lawyers and accountants and all that. And I just kept going to these things. I think I don't really want to do that. And then when I went to uni, I did student radio while I was there, which I really enjoyed. So I think from about 18 onwards, I wanted to do something media-y.
So, how did you get the job at Soccer AM?
I I was at uni. While I was there, as I said, I did the student radio. Then I went to Canada for a year. I came back to the UK, and my friend Dan, who I knew from student radio at uni, he was working at a TV studio in London, and he'd just left. They needed someone to replace him, and he suggested me. So I went along for the interview. So I literally got a job within I started work within 6 days of getting back from Canada. So I got quite lucky there. And then I did that for a year. And then the same guy had moved on to work at Avalon, who were Tim Lovejoy, the presenter of Soccer AM at the time's agents. And he knew that I watched the show and that they were looking for someone. And I sent a CV off. I went for an interview. They offered it to someone else. They couldn't start in time, so I got the job.
Do you know, like nowadays, do you get people coming up to you that are a bit older saying, "Oh, Robbie from Soccer AM," and then a younger audience saying, "Oh, from YouTube"?
Yeah, it's a real mix. And because we were until recently we were doing a Soccer AM podcast as well that was going on for a little bit. And so like I don't really know where someone knows me from, and sometimes I'll guess and I'll get it wrong. And so if it's someone older, it's quite possibly Soccer AM, or it might be YouTube now. I do a podcast called Jaackmate's Happy Hour on occasion, and a lot of sort of student age people, it's probably that. But sometimes I'll think it's someone who watches Happy Hour, and I mention Jack and Stevie who I do it with, and they'll go, "Who are Jack and Stevie?" And I go, "Oh right, okay." And you have to sort of work out. So you don't really know, but it's quite nice to have people of different talking to you about different things.
You were there for 7 years. What at Soccer AM? What were your jobs over the years?
So when I first started, I mean, Sky's got slightly different job titles to traditional TV. My first job was, I think, called production junior, which seems unnecessarily demeaning. And that was a lot of getting all the props and costumes in for the show, all that sort of logistical stuff. But we'd always be asked to come up with ideas and then and contribute, and then occasionally sort of dress up for things on the show and do stuff on screen. And then I moved on and became an editorial assistant, which is a bit more sort of being in edit suites and doing editing videos and stuff. And then I eventually became an assistant producer, which was probably just more of the same, to be honest, just with slightly more responsibility. But in terms of actual roles, a lot of editing stuff, writing scripts. I would do all the guest stuff. So once a guest would be booked, sometimes I book the guest and I would then phone them up during the week, have a little chat with them, and write the interview based on that for Tim and Helen, who were the presenters. I was also running the music stuff for Soccer AM. So I would get all the music with CDs at the time, get all the CDs in from new stuff that was coming out, go to a lot of gigs, check out bands, see what they were like. And then I would say, take the best 10 things of that week, whatever, go to Tim and say, these are the best 10 things I think of from that week, whittle it down to whatever music we needed and stuff like that. So a lot of fun things that I enjoyed, and a lot of experience that I think a lot of my peers who were in more sort of traditional TV weren't getting. I remember people saying, friends of mine going, "Hey, I got to go in an edit suite today." And I was thinking, I've been in an edit suite for like 30 hours a week for the last 2 years. Sort of thing. So we're quite lucky to get the experience that we did, I think.
So you mentioned there you do the music and stuff. There wasn't live music on it in the show then, was there?
No, there wasn't. So it was a lot of it was picking music to go over the sort of goals or different features that we had, and it was also booking musical guests on. We had like Arctic Monkeys did their first studio interview with us. We had, I think, as far as I know, I think Kaiser Chiefs, Razorlight all did their first TV, certainly live TV things with us. So we were getting quite a nice, diverse mix. We had Akon on, we had Meatloaf, Noel Gallagher, Johnny Marr, a lot of good fun people.
Live TV is pretty hectic anyway, but when you're booking bands who are usually on a Saturday morning going to be a bit worse for wear, would it ever go wrong with bands?
We get some people who were clearly quite drunk still from the night before. The only time, I mean, it never really went too bad because you sort of, it's just quite interesting. If a band are being badly behaved to a degree, it's quite interesting. The only time it went bad, we had Dirty Pretty Things on, which were Carl Barat and Dish from Cooper Temple Clauses, their band. And we had the two of them on, and they were still quite drunk from the night before, and I think drinking during the morning as well. And they just were a bit of a mess. I think it was one of them spat milk at Tim or something like that. I can't remember the details. And they were nice, and I've met them both since. And they're lovely. I really get on with them. But we did eventually have to sort of take them aside and say, you can't be on the show anymore for this episode. So I sort of took them to the green room and said, yeah, you can't go back out there, lads, sort of thing. But I met them afterwards. They were sort of quite apologetic and lovely. So yeah, but no one was ever really bad.
You mentioned you booked the guests as well.
Hmm.
I'm guessing when it was at its peak, it was easy to just get guests on and everybody was up for it.
It was a bit of a mix because if you knew the show, like people would understand what it was. But then also, if you didn't, it was a random football show that was on at 9 a.m. on Sky Channel 401 sort of thing. So it depends. And you get some record labels or some music promoters who would know and some that wouldn't. And if you go the ones that wouldn't, we'd ask them for someone quite big and they go, oh, no, I don't think it's really for them, but you can have this sort of person. We go, well, we had Noel Gallagher last week and we got Arctic Monkeys on a couple of weeks or thing. So politely and respectfully, no, thank you. So it would vary, but a lot of the time, because it was seen a lot, it had a real cult following, and a lot of people really loved it. And the number of times me or Tim or whoever else would be out at some event, something, and you bump into someone famous, whether it's a band or someone else, and they go, "When are you going to get me on Soccer AM?" We go, "We've literally asked your agent 10 times," and they just go, "Oh, right, just take my number," and give you their number, and you just phone them up, sort of thing. Because I think it wasn't something that paid. I mean, we did pay guests, I think, but not particularly well. So I don't think for the agents it was that much of an attraction for them because they're not going to get loads of money from it. But a lot of people just really enjoyed it. So a lot of the time we just text a lot of these people and say, "Do you want to come on?"
The week building up to the show was pretty hectic as well, wasn't it?
Yeah. So we'd work Tuesdays to Saturdays. So we have Sunday, Mondays off. And Tuesday wasn't too bad. I'd probably get in about 9, finish at 6. Wednesday, I'd probably get in about 8:30, maybe finish at 7. By the time it got to Thursday, it'd be 8 till 8. And then Friday, I'd quite often be in at 8 in the morning and wouldn't leave till like 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., which is quite hard when you've got to be in at 6 or 7 the next morning to do the show. There were a couple of times where I ended up working all the way through the night. So I get in on Friday morning and just going all the way through the night without any sleep and then doing the show, which was weird and unnecessary, to be honest. I think Tim, who was the producer, would agree with that now, but looking back, it was a bit too hardcore. No one should really be doing that.
It must have been like a fever dream, not sleeping and then doing all that.
Oh, it was an out of body experience. Because I was doing at the time, I was doing a character called Fixtures Man, and I'd have to write a little script, and I just did that in the morning a lot of the time. I'd get the bits in. It was weird. It was like throwing bits of fixtures from a house, like taps or stuff like that. So I got them in, and I wrote the script in the morning, and I did it on the show. And then a couple of days later, once I'd slept and recovered, and I watched it back, I had no recollection of it. It was like just watching someone else, and it was 2 days before. So it was weird and insane that you can go on live TV having no idea what you're doing.
Do you think that helps the show though, that you like it was a laugh and none of you were really like well known at the time, building up to its peak?
Yeah, it was friends. I think it was friends doing stuff together, and it was a sort of gang mentality. I think that's why a lot of these sort of things, the really successful things of its ilk, I like that, is because it's a group of friends or a sort of place that for that moment in time is the place you'd most want to be. I think like it looked a laugh, and it generally was a really good laugh on Saturday mornings doing the show. And when you got guests to come down, they go, "This is brilliant." I remember one day we had, I was in the green room and we had, it was loads. We had extra. We had four guests, four groups of guests on the show, and we had. It was the footballer Robbie Savage. We had the Charlatans, the band All Saints, and the Mighty Boosh comedians, Noel Fielding and Julian Barrett, and they're all in there chatting. I was talking to my friend Vic, who was a music plugger, who'd come down with the Charlatans. I said, "I'm really sorry it's so busy," and it was like a youth club. And she looked around, she went, "It's kind of the coolest youth club in the world, though, isn't it?" I looked around and like the Charlatans were chatting to the Mighty Boosh, and Robbie Saints was Robbie Savage was chatting to All Saints, all this sort of thing. I'm thinking, yeah, Joe, this is quite special, sort of thing. And it was such a great atmosphere on the show, and I think that came across in what the viewers would perceive of it.
I had Rocket on the podcast, and he said his favourite guest was Mr. T. Have you got a favourite guest?
I mean, there's people like, I mean, when I was like 17, I was obsessed with Oasis. So for me, I think Noel Gallagher on and becoming friendly with him, went to his 40th birthday party. By no means like best mates, but like if I bumped into him out and about, we'd have a chat and stuff like that. That sort of thing, I think for me, that was probably the thing I was most excited about. There were some lovely people. The footballer, Ewan Roberts, I think is a nice man of football. He was really good. And there are lots of people that were just lovely and fun. And it's really nice when you've got these people that you really admire for what they've done professionally, that you can have a chat with. And because my job was phoning them up and asking them, doing a little mini interview with them, you can just phone up people who are at the top of their field and just have a lovely chat with them. But yeah, probably Noel Gallagher for me was the one that was most like, this is mad.
Over the years, he was on it quite a few times, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. Yeah. I've haven't spoken to him for a while, so it feels I quite like to go to the Oasis gig, so it feels a bit harsh to text him. But we'll see. So yeah, he was on quite a bit, certainly when I was there and afterwards, yeah.
What was it like going to his 40th? Was that good?
Yeah, it was mad. Like it wasn't that there weren't that many people there. And it was in like a sort of nightclub in central London. But like, there was like Paul Weller and loads of musicians and stuff like that. KJ's the Stereophonics. I can't remember who else. To be honest, I'm sure the others will remember better. But it was just a really fun evening, just chatting and messing around and dancing.
Wasn't you at a gig and one of them like gave you a shout out during the gig?
Yeah, and I found it on YouTube the other day. I didn't know it was on there. You can hear, yeah, Liam. I went to see Oasis at the Clapham Grand, and Liam, who I'd never met at the time, shouted something like, "All right, lad, how you doing?" or something along those lines. And then Noel mentioned me as well, sort of thing from the stage like that, which was quite surreal. And I'm a Liverpool fan as well, so that was on the Sunday, and then on the Wednesday I got to go to Istanbul to watch Liverpool win the Champions League against Milan after being 3-0 down. So it was a pretty good week for 17-year-old Robbie. Would have been all over that.
You've pretty much won the league, really, as well, haven't you?
It's looking pretty good. Yeah, I mean, to be totally honest, I've not watched loads of Premier League football the last couple of years because I just can't. Like, I'm really struggling with VAR. Like, I live in Norwich now. I've got a season. I don't support Norwich, but I've got a season ticket to Norwich with my kids because they enjoy going. My two sons, and I struggle when I struggle basically with not being able to celebrate a goal properly, having to sit there for 5 minutes and while someone decides whether or not you can celebrate. So yeah, I'm struggling with top level football at the minute. Still love the sport, but it's taking a lot of the joy out of it for me.
Yeah, it does. It's not the same, is it? When you've got to wait, and it just takes all the joy out of it, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it was like at Norwich against Coventry a couple of months ago. Norwich were 1-0 down, and then a substitute came on and scored 2 goals in injury time to win 2-1. And it was that real I mean, even though I don't support them, you still want them to win, sort of thing. And it's a real euphoria, and you can sort of properly celebrate. But if that was Liverpool as the game, I'd be sort of hesitant, going, "Hang on, are they going to pull this back? What happened here?" Sort of thing. Because all you need to do in the Championship is quick glance, lines and flags down. Okay, here we go, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And it's it's a shame. I think it's a misunderstanding of why people enjoy football from the people at the top, that they think they want the most accurate result. I think they want the most fun and drama from a day out.
Yeah, that's what it's about, isn't it? The drama and
But the stories. It's like I appreciate this isn't a football podcast, and I'm just going slightly off here. But pure football. But but it's like if you look at the most expensive football shirt ever sold, it's Maradona's Hand of God shirt, and that's this perfect thing. This character is this hero and villain, all encapsulated in one game, with one of the best goals the world's ever seen and one of the biggest examples of cheating the world's ever seen. And if you had VAR then, you wouldn't have any of that. Both goals probably would have been disallowed because there's a foul in the build up to the good one as well, sort of thing. So you miss all that drama and story and all the theatre and pantomime that I think makes football so brilliant.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Yeah, I do agree with that. But again, with VAR, they'd probably make a mistake with that anyway and still give the goal, knowing.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, do something wrong. Yeah.
But back to Soccer AM then. You mentioned with music and stuff, you get to go to gigs and see band stuff. That must have been a big perk of the job.
Yeah, I mean, we weren't paid the best at Sky. It wasn't. I could live, but it wasn't great money. So I sort of quite quickly worked out, well, most of my money I spend on CDs and gig tickets. So if I can make that bit of the show my job, then I can get free CDs and I can get to gigs free. So yeah, I was generally going to about most weeks. I probably go to a couple of gigs in London and got to see some amazing acts, quite often quite small venues when they were coming up or later on. So yeah, I mean, as someone who loves music and loves going to gigs, it was absolutely fantastic. And because so many of them came on Soccer Aim, you'd know a lot of them as well. And there was there's a hotel called K West in Shepherd's Bush, not too far from Shepherd's Bush Empire. And it's where a lot of bands would stay when they came to London. And so even if they were like recording or playing shows, they quite often stay there because they were quite relaxed with them. The hotel bar was pretty tolerant of bad behavior. So a lot of the time, me and my housemate Sally, on our way home, we just go, let's pop into let's pop into the K West bar. We just go in there on a Sunday night, end up having a few drinks with Serge and Kasabian or whoever else that just happened to be in there. And it was a really nice, really fond memories of that time in London for me.
Who were the best band to like go out socially with and drink with?
Counterintuitively, there is a band that I don't know how, Joe, you might not remember, called Star Sailor, or from Warrington. Yeah, I'm still friends with them now. By far the biggest post-show drink up in Soccer AM history afterwards. Absolutely chaotic, and just the loveliest guys. And I think I'm gonna go and see them out in Europe later in the year when they're going to do a few gigs out in Paris and Belgium and that. And they were just lovely guys, really friendly, so much time for everyone, and great fun on a night out. So them probably. But you wouldn't guess it from the music.
You mentioned fixtures, man. Your little like skit thing. When did you first go in front of the camera on Soccer AM?
So what would happen was you'd get asked to do something. I think the first thing, I was an old lady or something. I didn't have any lines. I just had to be an old lady doing something. And you just be sort of, I guess, in the background or something going, I can't remember what I was doing. And then you do that and you don't mess it up or do anything mental. Then the next thing you might have a little bit more, and then you might have something to say, or you might have to do a joke, or it will go on like that. So it was sort of quite a gradual sort of easing into it. And at first of all, it's pretty terrifying because you're sort of on live TV. But then after a while, you sort of get used to it. And now, if you told me, so before I did a happy hour tour the other year, if you said get up in front of a room of 10 people and speak, I'd be a bit nervous. But if you said go and do something on TV in front of 250,000 people, I'd be like, oh, fine, because you just get used to it. But first of all, it's a bit nerve-wracking.
Did you ever make any mistakes on live TV?
Yeah, like nothing. I didn't do anything bad, but you'll forget your fluff lines or something like that. But that's fine as long as you're as long as most of the time you're getting things right, it's funny if things are wrong or things go wrong
Is that
depending on what it is. So yeah, it's good people make fun of you and you move on.
yeah? I'm gonna say it's that kind of show where you can like laugh about it, can't you? Instead of it being like stop everything kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's funny if something goes wrong. If you're doing it all the time, obviously it's unprofessional rubbish. But if you just genuinely make a mistake, then people would find it funny.
Where did the Tramp nickname come from?
I think I basically had a beard when no one else really had beards. I went in 2004. I went to Costa Rica for 2 weeks in our summer holiday because we couldn't take any holiday during the football season, but as a result, you'd get like a big summer holiday. So I just went on my own, just traveling around the jungle of Costa Rica. And I thought it was funny to go to the jungle and come back with a beard. So I came with a beard, and my plan was to show it to my housemate Sally and then shave it off. But she went, "Oh, that looks really good." And then I went out and I'm going, "Oh, that's really good." So okay, so no one really, apart from I think there was like me and I think Sergio Kasabian had a beard and um, Justin Lee Collins, I think, but there weren't really many people around with beards. So I think because of that, and I had long hair, Tim or whoever just started calling me Tramp because I looked vaguely homeless, I think, which is perhaps not the PC nickname you should have. But yeah, I think that's pretty much where it came from.
You get what's the word? Mistaken for Joe Wilkinson. People say
Yeah.
like when you had the beard. Did you get that a lot?
Yeah,
Or
I
do you
remember
now?
the first time after Soccer AM, we did a thing called Channel B that was like an internet TV channel for a couple of years. And we had a guy who's a comedian called Joey Page on, and he said to me, I remember we went to the pub afterwards, and he said, "You look like my mate Joe." This is before Joe Wilkinson had really been on TV or anything like that. And he showed me a photo. I was like, "Oh yeah," because normally people go, "You look like Sergio Kasabian." I go, "Well, I don't. I just had a beard at the same time as him." But I was like, "Oh yeah, fair enough. Okay, I can see that." And then a couple of times I was in at stand-up comedy, and the comedians on stage would go, "All right, Joe," to me. Like twice has happened, and I'd have to go, "I'm not. No, I know you think I'm Joe Wilkinson. I'm not." And they'd be like, "Oh, is Joe doing a bit or something like that?" And it was just a bit weird. Um, so and then we became like Facebook friends, I think, at the time, and sort of messaged a bit. And he'd say occasionally that someone came up to him and thought I was that he was me and vice versa. And he'd say sometimes he'd just go with it and let them take photos and think they'd met me, and I'd just do the same. So yeah, and I met him at Happy Hour. He came on as a guest, and I was on the show and met him there, and we got a photo together. It's on my Instagram.
Do you get a lot of people coming up to you like not like they know you, but you know like when if someone's so big and you watch it, it's part of your life.
Mm.
You get people coming up to you like they know you and stuff, and it feels like they've got a connection with you.
Yeah, yeah, we would. I mean, at Soccer AM, it was with a lot of these things. It depends where you go. Like because of the Soccer AM crowd, like generally pubs on a Saturday night, people you get quite a few people coming up to you because they recognise you from TV because it was young lads sort of thing like that. If you went to see Oasis or Kasabian, that's very much that sort of crowd. It'd be quite mad. Um, so yeah, it sort of depends where you go. I remember going out drinking after a show with Gavin Henson, the rugby player who used to go out to Charlotte Church, and we spent the entire afternoon just drinking in Richmond by the river, and it wasn't that busy. But then when you went into central London to these big things, you had paparazzi following around, and I think it's that sort of thing. At a certain level, as long as you can go to certain places that you're not going to get recognised much, and places that you are a lot more, and you can sort of tailor it depending on if you want a quiet drink with someone, you can go somewhere a bit quieter, sort of thing. And for me, so it was, yeah. I mean, it didn't take over my life. Everyone was quite nice. It was all pretty good. But then I'm friends with Martin Compston, who's the actor. He's in Line of Duty.
Oh yeah,
yeah. And I was out with him. I know him through my friend Gordon. I was out with him in Edinburgh last year, and for him, it's constant because it's like he's BBC One famous, so it's like everyone. So it's like old grannies in boots will come up to you and stuff like that sort of thing. So I think for that it's different. But if you're well known in a sort of niche, I think you can sort of adjust your behaviour and where you go to allow for it.
the show was big when you joined, but it did peak while you were on it. Did you? Is there a moment you realised it was like massive?
I remember at the time thinking once I've stopped doing this, years from now, there are people I'm going to meet who will go, "Oh my god, you're on Soccer AM. I used to watch that sort of thing," and that happens a fair bit now, sort of thing. But as for a specific time, I mean, it was stuff like when we'd had a Save Chip campaign that was just something that we were doing on the show, and so when Liverpool won the UEFA Cup, there was like a Save Chip banner on the front of the bus where they did their parade and stuff like that. It was everywhere, and things like we got to play football at Wembley Stadium the first day it opened. I'm the first goalkeeper to win a trophy at Wembley, at the new Wembley. So I guess things like that. It just felt, it did feel that you were sort of a part of football culture, and it was us who got the FA to put a star on the England shirt, for example, like that. So you see that now, that's made anything. Okay, that was from Soccer AM, and I guess stuff like that. So it wasn't really one particular moment, but there was generally a lot of stuff happening around, thinking, "God, we really are influential in this space."
Was that Soccer AM that got them to put a goal?
Yeah, it wasn't on there. We had a campaign. We wrote to we got quotes from Tony Blair and stuff like this, and getting everyone involved, sort of thing. And that's where it came from. Yeah,
that's great. That shows you the impact the show had, though, doesn't it?
It does, and in a lot of different things like music as well. And it's easy to sort of forget, but people weren't really just putting good music over football. Like, it would be something that had a meaning. Like, it would be, if you won the league, they play "We Are the Champions" or something like that. It wasn't just, there was a lot more. We were sort of pioneering putting just good music on things, and that sort of crossover of music and football was sort of quite good. And also, like, it seems strange now because it's so big, but UK hip hop, there was hardly anything outside of specialist things were playing British hip hop music. Like, it was. I can't really think of anything else that we're having hip hop guests on, but we would at a time when it wasn't very popular. Now it's hugely popular, and rightly so.
A lot of bands credit Soccer AM for giving them a platform early on.
Yeah, I mean, as I say, we were really, certainly when I was doing music, I was very keen to find up and coming new music, and I would be scouring NME for things that sound interesting, phoning around, getting CDs in of things if they hadn't been sent in, just trying to track things down, go to bands. It might be that, sorry, I couldn't even hear that. There's some street sweeping van driving past. Yeah, I'd be going to gigs. You might see a support band that you liked, and then you try and find out what they were about and track down and really make an effort. So, and we'd also be very supportive of bands that were part of our group. I remember the Manic Street Preachers had been on, and they had they were in some battle in the charts for number one. I think it was either the single or an album. I can't remember what it was. And they just sort of phoned up and said, "Any chance you can give it a little promotion?" It was up against something like, it was some American pop thing. So we did a little bit on the show, saying there's a battle for British sort of guitar music up against America, sort of trying to encourage them. I don't think they won in the end. I don't think they got to number one. But then Nicky Wire from Manic just sent us some Welsh whiskey and stuff like that through the post and stuff, say thank yous on that. So we were, even though it had a reputation that you'd make fun of people and take the mick a bit, we were very sort of protective of our friends and sort of thing. And it was always laughing with people rather than at them, if you will.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Well, when you'd go see a band live, what would make you want to book them on the show? Was it just if they were good live, or because obviously it was the interviews, wasn't it? It wasn't live music then. So
yeah, it was. I mean, you'd sort of, it generally would be because you wouldn't have, a lot of these bands you'd never have seen interviewed because they probably wouldn't have been interviewed. There weren't really many clips of them talking online, so you couldn't really make a judgment of that because for a lot of it, YouTube wasn't around. So yeah, I guess it would be what we thought of the music and get them on, and then you'd book them, do a little research chat and get them on. And so that's, it probably would just be the tunes and thinking, okay, this is someone we should be excited about.
You left Soccer AM in 2007 with Tim Lovejoy. Mm-hmm. How come you left? Could you just say it was the end?
No, I've been doing it for 7 years, and it was very full on. I loved it, but it was, you couldn't take any holiday during the football season. it was a great job to have my 20s, but you think, am I going to want to live like this in my 40s, for example, sort of thing? Probably not. Um, so I'd been thinking about leaving for a while, but we were also doing so much stuff. Like in my last couple of years, as I say, we're going to parties with Oasis. Went to 3 Champions League finals, played football at Wembley. So there's all this amazing stuff happening that I didn't want to leave, and then my friends be like playing in the World Cup final or whatever we get to do next. So we did that for a bit, and then Tim had said, look, he was a bit fed up. He had an opportunity to do some internet TV thing elsewhere. Oh, we're interested. I think for some of the guys, it's probably a bit more of a sort of shouldn't I sort of thing. But for me, I was like, yeah, 100% want to do this sort of thing. Because it was time to do. Because I think you do anything for too long, you get a bit bored, don't you? It's like, it's like footballers. I see even people who love a club want to move on and do something a little bit different sort of thing. I think it's healthy to do different stuff.
Rocket said, somebody from, is it People Just Do Nothing?
Yeah.
That program. He said he was on, one of them were on the show, and they said to him, they said to Rocket, how long have you been on the show? And he said, something like 15 years or something. And they said, that's a bit sad, innit? And he said that was the point he knew.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's whatever people want to do. For me, I'm lucky enough to have done lots of different things in life, and I'm not religious. I don't really believe in reincarnation or anything like that. So I think you get one go at it, and the more you can fit in, the better. So for me, yeah, it was a great, brilliant thing to do in my 20s. I was so proud of it, but it would have been exhausting to keep going.
Yeah. Do you would you still watch it once you left that?
I didn't, but because I don't think I had Sky, because we got Sky free, and I don't think I had Sky immediately afterwards. And also, I was doing things. Occasionally, I'd see it, but I mean, it wasn't like I can't watch this. It's too painful. I just didn't. I just didn't really. Wasn't really around on Saturday mornings, and then, not long after that, I had kids, and then you'd be taking them to things on Saturday morning. So I just wasn't around to see it, and I didn't necessarily have Sky. But occasionally, I'd see bits pop up and I watch it.
That's the thing as well. You mentioned you got kids there. You can't do that full week like you did then, like not going home on a Friday night, staying there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's it. And it's again, like I say, whatever period of life I'm in, I want to try and embrace that bit. Like it was good fun in my 20s. I was single. It was good fun married with kids sort of thing as well. And I want to spend as much time with my children as I can. So, that's kind of where I sort of focused my energies now. So I certainly couldn't do what I did then now.
What is your highlight from a show? You mentioned you played at Wembley. That's a big highlight. Is there any others?
Yeah, I mean, that's Wembley, Champions League finals, get a party with Oasis. I mentioned those quite a bit now, but so probably those. But just, I think a lot of it was so much work and so stressful in the build up to it. And then doing the show was so great, particularly once you got past your bits that were hard or things like that. The atmosphere on there would be brilliant. When something went well and everyone was laughing so much, it was really funny and you felt you'd just done something brilliant. It was such a good buzz. And then you'd be in the pub watching football with guests that you admired sort of thing for a few hours afterwards, having a drink and that. It was the shows. It was I say the sort of key headline moments and stuff like that. But it was just the whole experience of it was just really good fun.
You're well known for soccer and you're also well known through YouTube now. How did your YouTube career start?
So I was doing I did this channel B thing. Then I started my own production company, just making videos for brands that I did for a few years. And I do a few other little creative things, like the little podcast here and there. But then I never thought about doing YouTube. And I was with my friend Will Brazier, who does stuff now with Mark Goldbridge. And I was helping him film something with Troy Deeney at Watford's training ground. And he said, have you ever thought of doing a YouTube channel? And I said, well, I think I'm probably a bit old for that. And he said, well, look, the thing is, I know what it's like he said, I don't want to sound rude, but I know what it's like being an 18-year-old starting uni, because every September there's 100,000 vlogs of being an 18-year-old starting uni. Is I don't really know what it's like being a middle-aged man. So I was like, okay, fair enough. So I'm like, Joe, I'll do it. I'll do a video a week for 6 months, because I think you should give something a proper go if you're going to do it, and see how I feel. And I just started doing it, really enjoyed it. People seemed to like it, and I've just kept going from there, really.
If YouTube was about when he started just before like Soccer AM, do you think he'd have gone down a YouTube route then?
Um, yeah, yeah. I think when I started doing TV, I was quite lucky. Well, I was luck, but also I did the student radio, which led to things like that. So you had to sort of really work to make connections and that. And there were sort of people who have to give you jobs in order to do things. Whereas now you can just do it yourself to a degree. I mean, you can make your own stuff. If you don't want to be on camera, you can help someone else who does. You can sort of get involved in all these things uh, off your own back. And I think there's a lot less gatekeeping and stuff like that. My advice to everyone who wants to get to these things would be to do something. Start a podcast, start a YouTube channel, start a blog, do whatever it is you want to do. Just start doing it and don't wait for permission from someone else to say you can.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. How would you describe your personal YouTube channel then?
I always say sort of it's me killing time till the sweet release of death. But I think more and more, I'm trying to give it a bit more focus, and it's doing stuff. It's doing more stuff. I think I'm a firm believer that, as I say, you have a limited amount of time on this earth, and you should try and fit as much stuff that you want to do, or that you enjoy, or that you think you might want to do into life. So it's going places, it's doing stuff, it's trying things out, basically.
What's your favourite video that you've done?
I really like the ski ones. And it's a bit weird for myself, because if you're not into skiing, every now and then I just do random ski videos, and I think everyone else is like, oh, okay, fine, we'll watch this. But so I think when I've been on trips with friends abroad and done like a week in Canada or something like that, I really like those, because I put a lot of effort into filming them, and I put a lot of effort into editing them, and then you've got this lovely, I guess, sort of, as much for me, a little souvenir of that moment in time with your friends as well as anything else, I think. So yeah, those are good.
Your recent video with the Easter egg, I watched that one. That was a funny.
Yeah.
That was a funny video. And I like that with your channel, because it is just like mates how they're laughing at.
Yeah, like, you might not necessarily like my videos, but I think it's quite hard to hate them. Like, I don't think I'm I'm not alienating anyone, really, sort of thing. I think it's all quite inclusive. It's all very friendly. I don't really slag anything off with any seriousness or thing. I think, and I think that's the same attitude we had on Soccer AM. And I think that means I don't really have much of the sort of horrible side of YouTube comments and that some people talk about. Most people aren't nasty to me. Occasionally you'll get the odd idiot, but you just block and move on, sort of thing. But yeah, I think I try and make it as inclusive as possible for everyone who wants to give it a watch.
Yeah, it's authentic as well, isn't it? Like, you're just having a laugh and see what happens, kind of thing.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, try things out, go into it as enthusiastically as you can, and see what happens.
What was it like for a £500 Easter egg on it?
Oh, it was only £395. So yeah, it was. I had, for those who haven't seen it, I bought what I believe to be the world's most expensive Easter egg. It's certainly the most expensive Easter egg I can find in terms of like available to buy. There's some people that say, "Oh, this place has got a £10,000 Easter egg," but on the internet, I've not been able to find anything like that. And my friend Stevie, who I do Happy Hour podcast with, we were there looking at it, doing this, and I had an idea that I was going to smash it. So I just halfway through just randomly just smashed it on the table, which terrified him, sort of thing. So it was good. I mean, some people have got offended. The odd person is like, "Oh, I can't believe you did that." I'm like, well, you've got to eat it. You've got to break an Easter egg anyway. You might as well do it in a funny way. It's not wasting it. It's not just swept it all into the bin after that. It's still going to get eaten. There's about 3 tons of it in my cupboard at the minute. But so yeah, it was really good fun to do. But yeah, some people, the odd person is a little bit annoyed. But then it's had like 170,000 views at this point, and there's probably been about 5 people that have objected. So it's a very, very much the minority.
Whatever you do, you're going to get Sunday morning, aren't you? So,
Well, yeah, I see. You can't make everyone happy. People, the fact that some people are going, "This is the best thing I've watched this a million times," and the fact that people are going, that someone said that really pissed me off. Okay, so you can't. You just got to think, is what I'm doing offensive or wrong or not, and go from there.
Yeah. So you mentioned Stevie there that did the Easter egg video with you. He's on the Happy Hour podcast, which you are also on. How did that come about going on there?
So Jack, who's Jaackmate's Happy Hour is the full name of it. He is a YouTuber, or was a YouTuber, doesn't really upload anymore, just as a podcast. But I met him on some Chinese cooking show thing that I got invited to do. Just became friends with him and just started coming on occasionally and then more regularly, and then just eventually became on it full time. Now I'm on it a little bit more sporadically, sort of thing. I'm like a squad player, a rotation system. So yeah, that just came out from there. But that's been really good fun. It's good as well because as well as hang out with friends, it gives me a sort of credibility, I think, on YouTube that I perhaps wouldn't have as a random 48-year-old man if I wasn't doing it. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, you could quite easily be like, "Who's this guy? Why is he here?" Sort of thing. So yeah, I think it's good for that. We've done 2 UK tours. As I used to go to gigs all the time in London, I saw the Killers at Shepherd's Bush Empire, and we've played that 3 times now. We've sold it out. So that's been exciting, doing like live shows, which I never thought I'd be able to do. So yeah, I love it.
I was going to ask, what was it like taking it live? Was it good? Yeah.
Yeah, it was. It was good fun. There was no major falling outs. It was stressful at times, as you'd imagine it would be. But I really enjoyed doing it. I learned a lot. About myself and what, because basically your focus on that has to be, you can't really, there's lots of stuff you can't control, but all I could really control is how I was at 7:30 at night before the show. So I learned a lot about what would make me the most rested, what I needed to practice, what I didn't, sort of thing. And I just sort of focused on my own little bit, and that's all you can. So I sort of learned a lot about how my body works and how well I sleep, and depending on what I've eaten and stuff like that, weird things like that. So yeah, it was really good fun and lovely and great experience to do, and nice to meet so many viewers and stuff who were lovely afterwards.
When you first went on the Happy Hour podcast as a guest, did that like open people's eyes on YouTube to you, like give them a glimpse into you as a person?
I don't know really. I don't know because I wasn't doing it at the time. Was I doing YouTube at the time? I can't really remember, to be honest. But I don't really know what the response was because I didn't really have any way of seeing that. I know certainly Jack helped a lot on. He put me in a video about his favorite YouTubers when he was still YouTubing, and then that got me tens of thousands of subscribers and really gave me a big boost. So that was really helpful there, probably more than going on Happy Hour. But I think in general, being on Happy Hour does help the rest of the stuff I do.
With YouTube, obviously you've been on mainstream TV and YouTube. Do you think YouTube's overtaking mainstream TV at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, I don't. Yeah, I think mainstream TV's been very slow to adapt to it. I think talking to friends who work in TV, a lot of them struggling to get work, and I think people who haven't adapted are probably in a bit of trouble. A lot of them now because it is changing quite a lot. I think there was a time where YouTubers would want to get on TV, and a lot of the time, I don't see why they would. They'll have less control. Certainly, they'll probably make less money, to be honest, than they would the particularly successful ones. So, yeah, I think it has. I mean, more people watch YouTube, I'm sure, than TV now. I don't know the stats. I imagine they do. And I know I'm 48. The first thing I'll do if I'm eating dinner, I'll pop YouTube on rather than popping on BBC One or anything like that. I don't even have terrestrial. I can't remember the last time I've watched something live on TV that wasn't sport, to be honest.
Yeah, I totally agree with what you're saying there. It has took over. Like you say, when you just look for something to watch, just go on YouTube, don't you? It's just...
Yeah.
And it's on TV. It's on your TVs now as well, isn't it? So you can just...
Yeah, well, I watched most of it on TV. I remember when I was a kid, there wasn't much about... I like playing computer games, but there was nothing on TV. And there was a show that came on called Games Master, and it was like half an hour once a week for 6 weeks. And all my friends were so excited, like, my God, there's like a TV show for us. There's a TV show about computer games. It was amazing. Now, whatever you're into, there is a YouTube channel that caters exclusively what you're into. It's not just computer games, it's like a specific game. There will be entire things dedicated to it. Whatever you're into now, you've got stuff that caters to your needs. And if they haven't, then you can start it up and be that channel.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I've heard you say before, like, before you made a career off YouTube, you just go on YouTube to see how to like fix something or something.
Yeah.
But there was a point, wasn't there, where like YouTube was that way, just got it to look for stuff, but then it took with YouTubers coming through, it took a different turn now. Like I say,
yeah, and for ages I was thinking that's something for young people. I didn't realise the depth of it. I thought young people will go on and watch people, because I knew a few YouTubers. I knew Jack and I knew Spencer FC and stuff like that. But I just thought that was something that young people did and older people watch TV. And then I sort of realised, like, okay, if I'm looking for a new video camera, there's channel after channel after channel that will tell you all about the advantages of them all and stuff. So yeah, it's incredible. The information that's out there. Some of it's nonsense as well. You've got something a bit selective about what you watch, because there are things that I will watch about areas that I do have knowledge. I think that's mental sort of thing. But yeah, I think it's fabulous how much there is available to you.
The thing is as well, anybody really can do it. As long as you've got a phone, you can do YouTube. Whereas mainstream TV, you've got to do all these degrees and get through and stuff. But anybody can start a YouTube channel, really.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, it's like Stump Peg, who is a football YouTuber. If you know her, she's brilliant. I've done a few videos with her. She literally films. She's got every video she gets, we're at hundreds of thousands of views, and she films it on her iPhone. She's just literally going around like that, around stadiums and stuff, filming everything, sort of thing. You don't need. I think she's got a microphone as well that she attaches to, but you don't need expensive equipment. If you've got a phone with a camera on it, you can make a success and make a career out of it.
You touched on it earlier when you said just start a YouTube channel if you want to do it and don't listen to anybody else. What other advice would you give somebody wanting to start a YouTube channel?
So yeah, I'd say the way I'm doing it is the hardest way to do it, because I don't really have much of a niche. Like look, work out what you want and why you want to do it. Like there's different reasons for doing things. If you go, do you know what? I want to become a YouTuber so I can make money. That might be slightly different from how you want your life. I think you want to look at what your life wants to be. For me, I think, well, I like going skiing. I like visiting places. I like, experiencing things in life. So that's sort of what I've tailored this towards. If you just want to go surfing every day, then make a surfing channel sort of thing. But you've got to be aware that if you don't do something that you're interested in, you're going to get bored of it like you would any other job. So I'd say certainly the first thing is work out what you want your life to be like, and then work your way back to what will enable that. I think it's the same as when I said at Soccer AM, I was doing this job but spending all my money on gig tickets and CDs. I thought, okay, I like the music side of things. Let's make my job into that. I think whatever you're doing in life, you can sort of try and mold it in. Like if you work in a bank, you can't suddenly go, I want to rap, sort of thing like that. But you can sort of, a lot of jobs you can tailor slightly, move into lanes that fit close to what you want to do. In terms of actually making videos, I think watch people that you admire, watch videos. Every time I watch Casey Neistat video, I think, okay, what he's done there is brilliant. This is good. Focus on storytelling more than technique. Most things are better if they're shorter. Like I'm editing a video that's going out later today, and I will edit it, and then I'll go through and watch it again and go, right, and cut that. And there's times you want to leave things long, but more often than not, if you made something, if you cut a third off of the length of the video, it'd be better. So trim things down. If anyone wants to message me with specific questions, I will answer
them. So just to finish off, really, it's been an absolute honour to speak to you. I've really enjoyed it.
It's been fun, thank you. I like talking about myself.
Where can people find you? Obviously, YouTube channel. What's it called, and where can they find you on social media?
Yep, Robbie Knox on YouTube. I think I'm Mega Robbie Knox on TikTok. Yeah, Robbie Knox on YouTube, Mega Robbie Knox on TikTok, Mega Robbie on Instagram. But yeah, Instagram and YouTube's probably where most accurate. People can work the internet. Just put my name in, you'll find it.
I'll leave a link in the description as well, so
Yeah.
people can find it. But yeah, thank you so much for joining me. It's been an honour to hear your stories and your career from Soccer AM all the way to the current day. It's been an absolute honour to speak to you.
No, it's been good. I just want to say, based on when I was talking about doing live TV, I'm looking at the camera and I've been looking at this throughout the entire thing, but you're not there. You're actually down. This is where you are on my thing.
Oh, really?
But I'm such a professional. I've not looked at you for the entire thing and I've just stared down at a camera lens, which you get used to. So there you go. There's an insight into how my thing works.
Thank you.
I know I'll look at you. So yeah, no, it's been a pleasure. Thank you. I've really enjoyed it.